Well, I got like 20. No, I've got 2 minutes. What do you want? Because I got a lot of shit I got to cover today. But what's up?
Only two. Wait, you almost told me you had 20, and now you got 2.
Well, it depends. What do you want to chat about?
Okay, I'll just fucking cut to the chase. Cholakian.
Cholakian. What's that?
Some shit happened.
The
that
Egon
I
guy?
just want. Yeah, Cholakian.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just like a member of some like crazy weird cult thing.
He's not. He's not real, man.
I think he is real, unfortunately.
Okay, so here's what happened. I went on an episode of an old podcast that I used to do, right? And I asked the guy that runs it, I was like, hey, have you seen this Destiny meme where he's kind of like going through all this bot post stuff and he stumbles on Cholakian, right? And he said no. And so we watched it together, right? An edit of it, of you chilling and watching this, right? As this is happening, right? The numbers on that stream jump from the normal like 900 to like 4,000, right? And suddenly the chat is swarming with bots, like obvious like bot shit, right? The next day, right? I do the like YouTube streams that are kind of like TikTok streams, the vertical streams.
Okay.
Just because algorithmically, like for a guy like me that doesn't get many views, it gets me in front of people who've never seen me, right? So I start talking about what happened the night before. I've probably maxed out on that stream at like maybe 300-400 viewers at a time. It's real casual shit. Dude, as I'm talking about Cholakian and the bots and the botting that goes on, right? I go up to 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000. Dude, it's the biggest stream I've ever done on the channel.
Now, wait, you said that this was on TikTok?
No, this was on YouTube live streams.
On
like
YouTube Live, the YouTube Shorts lives, or just like YouTube Live?
Short, yeah. The one that's like TikTok. Yeah, YouTube Shorts live.
I can't say for sure about the YouTube Shorts thing, but I do know that for TikTok, I do know that for TikTok, because the algorithm is so swingy, because there's so many people viewing content, that if you start to go hot on that algo, you can get like 10,000 viewers in like 2 minutes.
Right.
You can lose them all in like 5 minutes,
Yeah. I've noticed that, right? Like people will come in and it's like obvious they bounce right off the content because they're just kind of rapidly scrolling, right? The chat, right, becomes, okay, I'm a fat guy, right? So it becomes fat guy, fat guy, fat guy. And then it becomes like, I have a beard, right? It becomes beard, beard. I wear glasses. It becomes glasses, glasses. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the 3 things that you would expect a non-human eye to scan the content, right, and come like, what can I talk about this piece of content to like bot engagement with it? Glasses, glasses, mustache, beard, right? And it's just like fucking all kinds of different usernames that are all coming in this swarm of what's got to be 4,000 bots, right? And they're all saying this. The ones that do interact in the chat are all saying literal bot I'm sure you could probably recognize it too after being in the game as long as you have, right? Like,
yeah, but that doesn't mean that he himself is a bot, right? But I'm sure there's a lot of bot activity around the shit that they do, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm wondering though. So I was expressly talking Cholakian. Bot swarm happens 2 times in a row on relatively unknown, obscure content. Like, this is not shit that your people are going to just like stumble on, right? I'm doing YouTube shorts, smoking weed in my backyard. And I go like, man, I mentioned Cholakian on the Drunken Peasants the other night and fucking 3,000 bots showed up. And then as I'm talking about it, 4,000 bots show up on my shitty little fucking YouTube live stream.
Okay.
Why the fuck would this guy be surrounded? Because I don't know. Maybe you can explain to me. Maybe you know better how a single person or a single entity without a lot of help would bot 4,000 things. Is that like something that like I'm sure like a hyper nerd with an
I haven't seen the stream. I haven't seen the numbers. There's no way off of one thing I could ever possibly make a guess, other than either it was a topic that people were interested in and it started to get picked up in the algo.
Okay, well, do you want me to like I don't want you, and like honestly, like dude, if it's a waste of your time or whatever. But if you take me at my word, that typically I get around 100, 150, maybe 200 viewers, and I had over 4,000 at one point in the stream, right? and the engagement in the chat was literally solid bots, right?
Okay.
And this has never happened to me before. I've done hundreds and hundreds of these live streams, right? I'm pretty fucking, I know how the metric swings when I'm in the algorithm or whatever. This was not that. This was somebody that had 4,000 accounts that somehow figured out I was talking about.
Oh, some people in my
botting.
chat are saying since we spoke yesterday that apparently a lot of people in my chat were watching you too. So maybe that boosted you in the algo and that caused
No. This was way before this. This was a week and a half before
there's
you and
no
I
way I
talked.
can ever solve this problem. So I don't know what you're looking for me. I can't possibly. I have no idea how I could ever solve your
I'm not
problem.
asking you to solve it.
Right,
Never-
I don't know what I can say. I have no idea what I can offer up. Yeah, maybe there is a crazy secret Matrix bot guy on the internet that follows it around, or you got swung up in the algorithm, or there are bots that target it, or some combination of the two. Like I have no idea what I could possibly analyze this with, or what.
I'm not necessarily asking you to solve this for me. I don't think you're the dude with the answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as a relatively small streamer in comparison to you, I'm wondering how you feel about, because some of these bots are more sophisticated than your typical like, hi, this content is great, smiley face, right? This is like, there's some level of semi-human interaction going on where they can tell, a few things about you from looking at you. So like, I asked you a question way before the election, and you kind of dismissed it a little bit. I said, do you think that we've reached a critical mass of like where people will believe anything that feeds their ego rather than being confronted with facts, right? Are we
I don't think
living
I
in a
dismissed it at all. I think it's one of the biggest issues that we have right now. Yeah, of course.
Well, okay, but hold on.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and look at that interaction, you said, if that's the case, I don't even want to do this anymore. Right?
I guess I would have to know the context of. I mean, like if you were telling me that in response to me working on something, then I mean, obviously, I'm trying to work with the idea that there are some people out there that are fact driven or care more about.
Well, that's what it was, right? I was asking you because you were making a document, right?
Sure.
And I was asking you, like, do you think that this angle of attack works at a time where it just seems like people are going to grab a belief and go with it, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm working like.
And then that's further complicated by the idea that these people that I'm thinking, and maybe you're thinking a lot of times, our interaction are actually just botted content, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many of the large streamers outside of yourself could have massively inflated numbers, right, of these bots that just, and I'm not even saying they're doing it, right? I'm saying that certain kinds of content are pushed algorithmically by swarms of these bots. The power that there is inherent in that for a big social media company to point at my shitty little stream and go like, see, 4,000 people watched it, right? It's like billions of dollars worth of fraud going on, right? Probably in your community. I would imagine if it's happening in my community and around little things I do, it's got to be huge.
Yeah, it's
right?
a really big problem. Yeah. Yep.
And billions of dollars of fraud, and you are contending with what looks like to the uninitiated people, right? To the uninitiated kind of drive-by viewer, as if you're getting dunked on in this stream, or you're getting fucked on in this Twitter post, right? And what are the chances that any of that engagement is real? What percentage of it is real? How much extra attention does it garner from people like you, right, who have big platforms, even though 50, 70, 80% of it is just bullshit, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to bring up specifics, but there's like a whole bunch of shit about you right now on Twitter. How much of that shit is just botted bullshit?
All botted deep fake for sure.
I'm not talking about, I don't care about the deep fakes, dude. Suck a dick. I don't give a fuck. Good on you. But like, how much of the people
I don't know.
that are pretending
I understand. Yes, I understand what you're saying. I don't know what I'm supposed to say, or like I understand that you think these
I
things.
don't know
We've
what
talked
you're
about
supposed
these.
to say either.
We've talked about these before. Yes, they're really, 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 really big problems. Yeah, these are probably the largest problems on the internet right now. Yes, I agree with you. I don't know what you want to add. Yeah, the problem with a lot of these bot things is that you can see it, for instance, on Reddit. I think Reddit is a really good descriptor of how human behavior works. That if you go into a thread and you see one comment and that comment is upvoted 10 times, that's going to influence how you view the content, right? And that general paradigm, I think, probably translates over to almost everything that you do in life. If you go to a YouTube video and you look at the comments and the comments are overwhelmingly negative, that's going to change the way that you view the YouTube video. Or if you go on Twitter, or if you go on whatever social media platform, if there are certain types of comments beneath a thing, they influence the way that you view the thing. Yeah, of course. This is why people that are like very dedicated online will try to like get their fan bases to go and spam comments in places, not just because it makes it look better to like the fans, but because outsiders that watch a thing will think it looks better too. It influences the way that people view the thing. So there's huge money and huge bot networks that are around like this type of behavior, especially on X. Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, this is. Yeah, I don't. But I mean, nobody
like nobody's at the regulatory wheel about it. Even though, like, I don't know if you would admit this, but I think like what people would call old media is dead.
Old media is definitely not dead, but alternative media is definitely like a big competitor now. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so yeah, you would maybe you're right. Maybe it's not as like far as dead, but I just think that like the worm has turned in this last election. I think that like online content creators and non-traditional media were way more fucking influential than anybody with ABC, NBC, Fox, or anything next to their name. Al Jazeera or whatever whatever your flavor is, right?
Sure. What about it is?
But well, here's the problem, right? We're talking about rampant fraud.
Oh,
and botting.
Here's the issue.
On in I understand.
I understand. Okay, hold on. Do you have anything else for us? Here's the reality is right now it probably benefits conservatives more than not, so they're not going to say anything about it. You can't bring up any of this to them because they'll immediately just start screaming Russiagate, and then they will shit all over themselves and roll over the floor and smear it on the walls. Like that's it. So the conservatives are out of the conversation. The people on the left, the far left, will also say Russiagate because they want to signal that they're not gay and lame like the center left libs, and the center-left libs won't talk about anything having to do with it because now they're paranoid about having Trump derangement syndrome. So nobody in our entire media landscape right now can talk about it because Republicans are literally treasonous traitors to the country and don't give a fuck if foreign interference is happening as long as it's happening on their side, right? Which is why they don't care when Trump calls for Russia to leak emails, or why they don't care if Roger Stone is communicating with Guccifer, or why they don't care if WikiLeaks is only targeting one party. So there's nothing you can do about it, right? You can complain about it, which I do. It is a problem. I'm not trying to don't mistake my hand waving you as saying it's not a problem. I don't care about it. I do. It's really bad. It's just there's literally nothing other than fighting the good fight against the T-1000 fucking army Russian Kremlin bots on the internet. That's really all you can do. And then you have to understand that nobody else at least on the right, none of those people are going to be having that conversation because they don't care. And then on the left, people.
If you're talking about fighting the T-1000, right? There are different ways to fight that, right?
No.
And
with the sophistication,
there are no like different tactics
with the sophistication of the technology right now, you need the heads of the companies to agree that it's a problem. You probably at this point need some sort of regulatory intervention, of which nobody likes anymore.
Well, wouldn't that preclude needing the heads of the companies then?
No,
right?
because for instance, when Twitter and the FBI were communicating before about bot accounts, that was a joint communication thing. It wasn't just the government telling Twitter what to do, despite people lying about it, and it wasn't Twitter taking orders from the government. It was like a joint thing of like, hey, recommend us accounts, we'll look into them, and that's it. Nobody likes that collaboration anymore because everybody thinks it's fucking violation of freedom of speech. And then the heads of platforms like Elon doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't give a fuck about bots anymore. So what do? There's like you can post, but you have to understand that you're screaming into an abyss that has like one human for every 2,000 bot accounts, and you have to try to make people understand that and fight against it and know that all of this is working against you. Plus, other real people can amplify and be used by it all at the same time. So yeah.
I understand.
It's fucked. It is probably one of the largest issues right now in media. I'm not hand waving you in that like there's it's a stupid
I don't
point.
feel hand waved. I don't feel hand waved.
Yeah, it's frustrating. There's a lot to deal with.
Yeah. I understand that. I didn't mean, I don't feel hand waved. I feel like, obviously, I feel frustration coming off of you.
You should. I do too. I get targeted by a lot of it. So.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. Sure. Absolutely. And I mean, even in the microcosm of being a much smaller creator or whatever the fuck, I get targeted by the shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's harder for me because I come from a time where botting just wasn't something that was happening functionally.
Yeah,
old
like there was
forums and
botting,
shit.
but like it was very obvious who the bots were. It was very limited in scope and nature. It was very expensive, either resource intensive or
right.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I deal with, because I try and be like chat interactive in a way that maybe like a dude with a way bigger audience probably couldn't be, right? I know you read your chat and shit, but you pick and choose. I try and like follow where they're going. And one of the things that I've noticed is like some of these people are clearly not real, but they're able to react to what I'm saying to a limited extent.
There's a I don't know what we read or what we watched, but the bots that exist today are very sophisticated. The FBI, or it might have been CISA, put out like a big statement on how these like accounts work. I think what was the name of the program? They called them souls, but
souls. That's just fucking like, why don't they?
Well, no, like the way they can work is that you could literally spin up like an entire net of individual accounts. You could give them certain character archetypes. You could give them like certain like backgrounds, like type in like a thing or whatever, and then they'll just go off and they will is it Meliator might be the name of the program, but these things exist. And I mean they're functional. They're out there now. It was the IC3.
I mean, this is bigger than just not wanting to be targeted by people saying mean things about, my
No, it has to do with how we feel about Israel, Palestine, and Russia, Ukraine. It has to do with how we feel about things like immigrants at the borders. It has to do with how we feel about whether or not Iman Khalif is a trans boxer. It has to do with everything. Yes. Yeah. The goal is the goal is like the goal is to just make people feel like they live in a chaotic and untrustworthy and like deteriorating environment. That's the only goal.
Can I tell you that like this whole thing, and I didn't bring it up jokingly. I really do think this is a problem, and I was hoping that you did too. It's like, I brought it up because it kind of put me in that position, right? Where it's like, I've been doing what I do now and making a living at it for 10 years. How much of that was just fake? Right.
Well, I mean, if you have actual engagement with fans and stuff, I mean, you can tell. What do you mean by what was fake?
I mean, I've done meetups and stuff where fans come and meet me and shit. So I know like 100% of it isn't fake. But how many arguments have I gotten in online, right, or on social media that aren't fucking real, right?
Yeah, like I mean, I would say probably
somebody's like, "Hey, you're a fucking cuck to this."
Yeah.
Fuck
a lot of it is probably
fake.
A lot of it is probably not real. This is why if you look at how all of the big people on social media. It took me a while to learn this. I just figured this out last year. So my engagement is pretty much like this. If you look at like big social media accounts, like the Candace Owens and Timbals and all these people. These people don't engage with people on Twitter. You just fire stuff out onto Twitter, then you leave it. You fire your tweet out and then you let it hang, and then the bots and whatever else do whatever. You're not actually having conversations with people on Twitter or engaging with people on Twitter. You just fire shit out and you leave it because you know that it's like a fucked platform, and that's where you leave like the normal humans to sit amongst the piles of T1000 bots to go and duke it out and fight with each other, and you hope that the bots are pushing people in your favor. That's it.
So is it more important now that we establish our common humanity rather than worrying about all of the fucking minutia of our politics?
Some people don't care about the common humanity. They care about if you agree with them first, then the humanity comes second. That's the issue.
I guess that's true.
Like, if you can get conservatives to care about humans or to care about America, then we can start having that conversation. But until that happens, we're fucked.
I think, I mean, to be fair, and I'm not trying to both sides it, but I think there's a lot of liberals out there that don't give a fuck about anybody.
You can try and both sides it, but Biden, did he just make the statement, or was this, what did Biden say before? You can't love your country only when you win the election. Show me a single conservative saying that when Trump lost in 2020. It's not the same.
Didn't Pence say some shit like that?
Pence might have, but that guy, why isn't he didn't run with Trump again, did he? He got eliminated from the Republican Party.
He never would have been allowed to run with Trump.
Yeah, because Trump tried to have him and his family killed on January 6th.
I understand.
Sure.
I saw the gallows.
I'm just saying that like there aren't like if you bring an example up, it's somebody who's now been eliminated from the conservative sphere because they don't want him anymore, right? So you'll never find.
Yeah. That makes sense. I understand what you're saying. It's bigger than just yeah. So the one guy that I could think of that might have said some shit like that is now like basically persona non grata on the right because he stepped out of line.
Yeah.
And the left doesn't have any mechanism that swings back that other way.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no decorum or respect for humans or Americans on the conservative side of politics right now. It's 100% a team sports game, so it doesn't matter. If a new Russian program were released that like flew around to houses and like decapitated or disemboweled like liberals, like conservatives would say, "What do you want me to do? It's Russiagate." They wouldn't care.
Yeah. So what? Oh man. Anyway, I know a lot of these questions are pretty rudimentary, like from your perspective. You said you covered it a lot, but I appreciate you, like, again, taking the time to go through it with me and like give me, you know, like answer me in good faith, because I really am coming to you in good faith with the questions. I'm not, you know. So yeah, I appreciate that. I know you said you had limited time, so I'll bow out, buddy. But you have a good day, okay?
Yeah, I love you. Be careful, buddy.
All right, bye.